People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now in relation to Paul Pogba, I've spoken about on my Deluded podcast. Please go and, cheeky plug, but please go and check out the Deluded podcast, the DG podcast. Links are in the description. It's on Spotify, Apple and the rest of it. I spoke about this Pogba thing in that. Across one of my live streams yesterday, I also spoke about Paul Pogba in that. So I kind of don't want to go over the same things, but we kind of have to, because I don't feel I've done one specifically for YouTube. Now, I'm not going to go over the same things, but in short, we all know where we're at. You know, Mino Raiola is never one to hide when it comes to speaking about his clients or how he feels, you know. And in relation to Pogba, you know, it needs a divorce. We all know his fantastic ability. There are times I feel Pogba hasn't pulled it out. I just think away from Man United, Pogba hasn't improved to the level I thought he would. Ability, he's got that, you know. When I look at Kevin De Bruyne and Thiago and Pogba, not much separates them. You know, Pogba is a world-class player. But competency, consistency and intelligence, I don't feel he can do a consistent job in midfield on a smart basis to the level he should be. I think he's too old now where we need to keep saying he needs this, he needs that, he needs to play his role. We're still talking about what's his specific midfield role. So I don't think there's been enough player development by Pogba's part, and I do think at times he hasn't turned it up. That being said, I do think it's a bit like Mesut Ozil at United in that you sign these players, you don't build them around it. The clubs, like Arsenal, but more so United, you know, you're not where you previously used to be. These guys are just a field of frustration. People see big money and think these Pogba's meant to get 100 goals, 100 assists, make the difference all the time, where, you know, he should make the difference, he should play well. Sometimes he has played poorly and it should be spoken of, but sometimes he's played very well and he's been scapegoated and things like that. So sometimes I feel Pogba can do no right and no wrong. He can always, you know, sometimes I feel Pogba is in the wrong, sometimes I feel he's hardly done by. I just feel it needs a divorce though, man. I feel Pogba and Man United need a divorce. I feel Man United deserve to just think about Man United and why they're poor on the football field, not have to keep dealing with, you know, they went out the Europa League, now you have to talk about Pogba again. United are not where Ferguson left them or where Ferguson was. So that's all the manager or all the club should be focusing on, not all these shenanigans sort of thing. I feel when you get someone like Pogba or like Ozil, you know, they are leaders, but they're not going to lead the thing by themselves. They're not the players that are going to, you know, dig deep and fly into tackles and change the game like that. They play better with better players. You didn't build, neither's had a squad built around them, you know. Ozil's contributions to our FA Cups and just in general are underestimated. Pogba's contribution to the leadership role he played for France's World Cup is underrated. So there is that. But for me, I just feel it's toxic. Like, I feel Pogba wants to go. Again, it's a toxic environment for the fans, for Paul Pogba and Man United. He deserves to go somewhere where he enjoys his football, where he's not being hounded out by some people and whatnot. Man United deserve to just focus on, you know, stuff that's relevant, not this whole with every good game, can we keep Pogba, is he going, you know, and all of these sort of things. I feel it's exhausting. As someone that has nothing to do with Man United, it's exhausting. So I can only imagine what they feel as Man United, you know. And for me, I'm not blaming Pogba, but there's been a couple managers now and the same old rumblings have happened. And again, you know, you have to attribute some of that to the player. And as well, obviously they've probably seen this as the last straw. Maybe indirectly for the last 18 months or so, Pogba has tried to leave. Maybe Pogba said, you know, I get my head down, but I want to leave. And the club have played hardball over it. You know, he's got the contract thing, they've extended it and whatnot till 2022. Maybe this is the last straw. It's a dangerous game because of the fractured relationship when you mention the name Pogba with everything connected to United has. There's obviously a Euros. There's obviously, he needs to just simply play football. Like, he almost scored against Leipzig and he scored a good goal against West Ham. So it seemed like they're there, but it just seems like it's another sort of paper talk. And again, Ole Gunnar Solskjær, I don't believe he can take United forward like that. I don't think he's the man. But I do feel sorry for managers that have to deal with, you know, look at all the problems that Ole's caused for Man United by himself and all the problems there already. Whatever you feel about Ole, you know, you have to deal with tactically why United are making games harder than it needs to be, trying to score goals, trying to defend, trying to do all of them. You don't have to deal with Paul Pogba now. Like, is he hot? Is he cold? Does he want to be here? Does he not? And all the other storylines. It's another drama for no reason. And I feel they need to just call it quits. Where Pogba's might have shagged himself is with Corona and his form. Is anyone going to give United back their 100 mil or stuff like that? You're probably looking at half. You know, the other clubs with COVID, did they even see 50 million for Paul Pogba as worthwhile? I think it should be, but I have a duty to play devil's advocate because, you know, he's linked with Madrid, he's linked with Juventus. There's even Juventus, Dybala swapped deal. I'll take that as a United fan. But, you know, Why would you, even 50 million, I'd be a bit cheeky. I'd say, you know, clearly Pogba's agent has laid down the gauntlet and said he wants to leave. And said he will walk for free. You know, why am I going to pay you 50 mil when I can get this player for free, where he'll still be 28 or so, still have a number of years left, but I don't have to pay a fee? And we all know, not only is the fee a thing, the signing on fee, the wages, the commission Mino's getting, again, this is going to make it a costly operation. And even if Pogba went on a free transfer, to be fair, as you lot know, when you're a free transfer now, you can command better wages and better signing on fees, like shown with Ramsey at Juventus, like even Kolasinac at Arsenal with 100k people. So that might be something that goes against him. And obviously United are in a losing game because, again, yeah, he's their player, but if he's not going to extend his deal, I don't think United will let him walk for free, or that would make sense. You then run the risk of having the same toxic thing, because I don't think Ole's cynical, but Ole might sit there and say, you know what, I might think Pogba's a good player, but he's not playing for me now because I can't deal with this agent thing. So that's maybe where Pogba's not helped himself, because I know you want to leave United, but the best thing to do is play games. You know, you're trying to go into Euros in the best condition you have been, and you've had injuries, so try and play some games. Also, try and remind, because your stock has fallen, try and remind people what you're on. So the best interest, I always feel, is to play games and play to the best of your ability. But also, Pogba's played a dangerous game, because Ole might alienate him, so he's not playing games. He might be alienated from teammates. His relationship, when he does play in front of fans or whatever, might be fractured. There might be boos and all of these things. Maybe Pogba feels this is the last resort, and he's tried to go about it nice, and his agent, and it's not happened. Now, Mino is a lone wolf, and I don't think he always does things at his agent's accord. When you make Mino Raiola your agent, you know he's going to talk. But let's be serious, you know. Especially a touchy one like United, Mino Raiola is not going to come out and say these things and launch these attacks without it being sanctioned by Pogba. Or at least Pogba saying, all right, do your thing. Let's not be naive. Like I said in my stream, you know, Pogba has sanctioned that. So again, you have to question where Pogba's head at, and this is where you get alienated. And they're talking about letting him go in January. If I was United, I would, but the key thing is to where. You know, it's all for the price. You know, 50 mil for Pogba for me is a steal. With COVID, with his loss of form, with the fact that he's got a year to run, with it being mid-season and clubs can't even get credit from banks, like Mino said, Pogba might have to sit on his hands, and, you know, he might have made his bed. Also, there is a possibility, of course, Pogba signs a new deal and all of these things. So we'll have to see. Ole Gunnar Solskjær shut it down more or less, and he said Mino Raiola needs to realise football is about teams rather than individuals. He said the squad is fine, they're a team and they stick together. As soon as Paul's agent realised this, the team realises this, this is a team sport and we work together, the better. That's probably the last thing I'll say about that. I don't want to spend energy on that. And bro, you just lost. You know, you're out of the Europa League on the back of shaky Premier League form and question marks. You don't want to have to keep talking about Pogba. And to be fair, I think Ole's played this well. You know, it's a sticky one where nobody can win, but I think he's played it well. He's also not kind of threw Pogba under a bus. He said he's working hard in training and he just needs to focus on his performances. Now is not the time to discuss transfer targets and ins and outs. And that's true. To be fair, Pogba, let your agent do his thing. You play football. If you don't want to be here, I know people talk about downing tools and things, but Pogba, you know, he's got the clout and people still buy him. But for him, he needs to play well to convince people to spend 100 million or 50 or 80. Because right now, you're probably thinking, yo, if I'm going to spend 100, I know it's different positions, but I'd rather spend it on Haaland. I'd rather buy Camavinga. I'd rather try and flip that to put some extra piece for Mbappe. You know, you're trying to go for that. Juventus will probably take him, but they've got Bentancur, they've got Arthur. Do they necessarily need him? I think yes, because he's got difference. But does he? You know, so he's got to convince these people to buy him. You know, and listen, I'm sure the United move hasn't worked out. He ain't come back. He ain't returned a man after leaving the boy and winning the Premier League. But he's won a couple trophies there. I don't think he's been a bad player. I just feel, you know, like Ozil, he just hasn't hit all expectations, but everything hasn't been down to simply Paul Pogba. And, you know, Ole's being smart in his comments about he needs to focus, because he has to consider the fact that his squad isn't the best and he might need to utilise Paul Pogba. And, you know, you look at the numbers, you know, this season, he's played 633 minutes across 13 games. He's been dropped from the team on 3 occasions and has only played 90 minutes on 3 occasions, people. You know. And Solskjaer's been very critical on this, and he said he's going to be here for another 2 years, and I'm sure Pogba is focused on doing his best for us, and we want to see the best for Paul. So in the next couple of years, I'm sure we'll get the best out of him. Now, that was in October. Now, I don't agree with Jamie Carragher, but I see where his frustration's coming from. I'm not too sure about, Pogba is the most overrated player you've seen in your life. That doesn't make sense. You could probably say you know, really and truly, with the clout you've got on Sky Sports and whatnot, and whatnot, in the position you talk and you're on, anyone would think you're a madness, Jamie Carragher, when you was a media defender. You're better than me, and I'm not criticising him. I just feel that was a bit harsh on Paul Pogba. Maybe it's because I'm fond of Paul Pogba, but he said, get rid. I've been saying this for 12 months. He's the most overrated player I've ever seen in my life. That's exaggerated, but I do agree. Get rid. You know, I do think Pogba is overstated. I think he's a quality player. I think he's going to go somewhere else and the penny's going to be dropped. But sometimes that needs to happen. You know, a club needs to move on from a player for them to hit new heights, and United need to move on. It might not be here. I just feel Pogba isn't worth all the variables now. You're at that, you've been there too long, and for all the things Pogba can control, I just don't think his footballing IQ is improved. I don't think his concentration is quite there. I don't think his consistency is quite there. I think there's too much mental aspects with Pogba that means it's probably not worthwhile for United. You know, if you're winning the Premier League, if you've got a fixed 11 full of winners and everything, yeah, you can deal with this Pogba stuff. But when your team is a mess, it is a bit of amazing. It's a bit of a madness, you know. When you hear about Pogba, we always talk about his ability and things like that. Ability and quality doesn't mean anything if you don't apply it on a consistent basis, you know. I do feel, as much as I love Pogba, he's the only world-class player, top-quality player that's judged by mediocre expectations. There's always an excuse. There's always a reason. There's always another sort of accessory product he needs. And I like Pogba. I actually don't want Pogba to leave because I think it's bad for the league. I think, you got Pogba, you got Kevin De Bruyne, you got Thiago, you got Salah, you got Aubameyang when in form, you know, you got Harry Kane now, you know, Son. You need these players. Of course, Pogba, I think United will miss Pogba. I think United will miss Pogba more than Pogba will miss United, because he wants to go to the Madrids, the Barças, potentially Juventus, and all these teams don't have money. And is he their first on their agendas right now? That's why I think it's down to him to play. And he said, I think the two of them are a disgrace. Well, we'll all blame the agent now and say, ask Pogba, what does he think? Agents in this day and age, they're not just agents. They're a parent, they're a best friend, they're a financial advisor. They book holidays, they go away with each other. He'll be Pogba's best mate. So Pogba will be well aware of what's going to come out of his mouth. And if he wasn't, he should sack his agent. It's very simple. That's all that needs to happen. And that's true, you know, it goes two ways. Sometimes you get rogue agents that talk on clients' behalf, which isn't favoured. And then obviously you get ones like this people, you know, where I do think it was coordinated. You know, it didn't come out. He's not going to come out and say this. And this means, for me, Pogba has conceded that there is a possibility he might not play for United again. He might get boos and jeers and more scrutiny. You know, he might miss out. And also he needs to consider he might not get his move in January. But I think he's signalled his intent that he wants to move. You know, whether that's in January, whether that's in the summer, whether that's as a free agent. But again, it's the only people that are going to lose here for me are Man United, because Mino is going to get his commission. Pogba's going to get his move, whether it's for free or elsewhere. You know, all United can do is focus on getting some money for this guy, drawing up a replacement, whether that's letting Van der Beek and Bruno thrive and bringing in another midfielder, or bringing in another star man, or doing something in that regards. I don't know. But United are the only ones losing in this situation because it's constantly in the news. And I sympathise with the United fans, because I'm sure you're tired of seeing and hearing about things along these lines. But in that regards, it is what it is. On that note, though, I'm going to get out of here, man. People, DG, it's always appreciated. Please make sure you hit the like button. Please make sure you subscribe to the thing. It's always appreciated. Like I said, I've spoke on this 3 times, but I feel I had a duty for the YouTube folks to kind of speak about this. I know I'm an Arsenal fan. I know I make 100 Arsenal focus centric content, but I'm a fan of football first. I love the beautiful game, and I do love to speak about neutral topics. So I felt this was important to reiterate that. On that note, though, it's always a pleasure. DG, I'm out.